Well, good morning, everybody. And it is still morning for you. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon here, and we are finally on daylight savings time. And so that means it should be about 10 a.m. New York time when this goes up. I'm Peter Alexievich. This is the news that we are waking up to for Monday, March the 31st, 2025, day 1132 of Vladimir Putin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. Last night, we saw 133 aerial targets. Two of those were Iskander-M ballistic missiles, which reached their targets. A hospital in Kyiv was a victim. At least 2 people are dead, and another 36 or so are injured following this attack. 5 of them children. There is no ceasefire here. The Russians are hitting hospitals and critical civilian infrastructure, trying to create a refugee crisis. Now, of the remaining drones, the 131 drones that were sent in, most of those were knocked out for a 78% interception rate. Now, this is an amazing video. I'm going to play it for you here. But I think this is about a 53-second video. And do you see these barrels here? This is a view from a first-person view drone. Those barrels are shotgun barrels, and you are watching in rapid succession as 27 Russian drones are taken out of the sky, intercepted and taken out of the sky with these new shotgun drones. I mean, it's amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. And you can see the Telegram channel that this was taken from if you're interested in this kind of thing. The problem with most of these Telegram channels, guys, is that they're in Russian or they're in Ukrainian. And so I spend a lot of time translating stuff that we never even use on the channel. But 27 drones in that short video. Amazing. Now, we're going to take a look at the evolving relationship of geopolitical forces in the world. We used to be able to count on the United States to be a friend to Europe, to be a friend to democratic allies. That is no longer the case. Trump is claiming that Zelensky wants to back out of the minerals deal and warned him he would face big problems if he did. You know, the minerals deal is barefaced extortion. Even though it's not even a deal, right? It's just the framework under which a deal might be crafted. The conditions of the framework are appalling and represent, first of all, a lie that the Ukrainians owe Trump for what Biden delivered to this country. That's a load of shit. And I hope to God the Ukrainians reject that false narrative. And then there is the neo-colonial economic coercion of this deal. If you don't help us, we'll see to it that your sovereignty is non-existent. We will sell you out to your enemy and we'll deal with them. That's the threat that Donald Trump is making against the sovereign nation of Ukraine. It is obscene. And I do not understand how this felon, this convicted felon, is being allowed to run rampant in the United States, taking a chainsaw to our democracy. I don't get it. Trump also added that Zelensky wants to be a member of NATO, but according to the U.S. president, he's never going to be a member. So he wants the right to exploit the mineral wealth of this country without giving Ukraine any security guarantees whatsoever. In my mind, that is a no-starter. But the Ukrainians have to do what is best for them. So it's my understanding that they are currently... Now, the deal that Zelensky is rejecting is yet a different deal from the last one he was given. As I understand it, the terms are even more favorable in this deal to the U.S., which, come on, it was theft in the first case. Now it's got to be outright theft. I mean, it's just... What are we going to do? What are we going to do, people? Last week, we saw the Coalition of the Willing meet in Paris. And here are some of the key outcomes according to UATV, Ukrainian TV in English. France has prepared a euro 2 billion defense package. Huge, incredible. No sanctions lifted until the aggression stops. Damn right. You don't reward the guy before he stops the bad behavior. If the guy in Washington understood the art of the deal, he would know that and stop giving concessions away preemptively. Military representatives of the states willing and able to take strong, concrete steps for peace will work together to do just that. New partner defense investments in Ukraine following the Danish model. The Danes invest in military capacity here in Ukraine and spend their money to buy Ukrainian weapons for themselves and Ukrainian weapons for Ukraine. It's a good model. Sweden has announced its largest military aid package for Ukraine, nearly $1.6 billion. The package boosts Ukraine's air defense, artillery, satellite communications, and naval power. And we saw Norway double its contribution to Ukraine this year to, if I'm not mistaken, $8 billion. So right there, that's $11.6 billion between France, Sweden, and Norway to help float Ukraine through this difficult time. Is it enough money for the Ukrainians to tell America to go fuck itself? I don't know that it is yet. But when you add in the German money and some other money coming in, it might be. And it's my opinion, that's what they should be doing. Now, I think it is what they're doing. I think the Europeans understand what's happening. They are about to be caught in the big squeeze. An imperialistic Russia to the east, a dangerous corporate oligarchy bent on world domination to the west. America and Russia squeezing Europe between them in an unholy alliance, the likes of which I never thought I would see in my lifetime. So, leaders from 17 different European countries are in Kyiv today. These are their arrivals as they're coming in. They will take part in the summit of parliamentary leaders. The representatives of 17 European parliaments. The process of joining the EU requires a great deal of legal infrastructure to be in place and human rights infrastructure to be in place. Additionally, I think they're going to be talking about security and security guarantees for Ukraine. Regarding last week's Coalition of the Willing meeting, Zelensky said strengthening Ukraine, pressuring Russia for peace, agreeing on common security steps. These were the main topics of the meeting in Paris of European leaders. Europe certainly knows how to defend itself. We are working together to guarantee our state and all European peoples more security. And they're going to have to, because the U.S. is in the pocket of our enemies. It is just obvious to me. And for all you Americans who say that Trump isn't working for Putin, I got to tell you, I think you're wrong. And I think that the longer you keep your head buried in the sand, the harder this thing is going to be for all of us. Some great video emerged over the weekend of a helicopter chasing down a Shahed drone somewhere in the east of the country. Now, this is a short clip. You see the helicopter trying to get a bead on the drone. The helicopter's on the right, the drone's on the left. There's a bit of the video where it appears as though the Shahed is falling, but it isn't. We don't get to see them get it in this video. What you do get to see, though, is the maneuverability of the Shahed as it changes course to avoid the danger, which is very interesting to me. I did not know that they were quite that flexible. Now, finally, I'm going to play this video. Now, look, we know that there are literally literal neo-Nazi groups inside the Russian army. Rusich, led by a sadist named Mikolaev. This guy and his crew of neo-Nazis are responsible for some of the most awful war crimes that we have seen in Ukraine. The Russian press is acting very surprised that these people exist. They're acting as though they've never heard of them, as though there could never be Nazis in the Russian army. Solyov was going off. Why was he going off? Because this video emerged. This was made by Ukrainians. I want to point that out. And essentially what it says is, this is what the real Russian army is. Executing unarmed prisoners of war, a war crime, right? Executing civilians in their homes, unarmed civilians in their homes, looting their homes. This is what it is to be in the modern Russian army. This is who you are. And a kidnapper. Stealing Ukrainian children to sell them to the worst people in the world. Pedophiles, pornographers, and sadists like yourselves. This video, which shows what it really is to be in the Russian army, caught the attention of some of the Russian propagandists, and they now feel the need to distance themselves from these very people whom they have been cheering on for 3 years. Finally, a little funny here. If you try to go to the website for the Moscow Metro today, you are redirected to the website for Ukrainian railways. You may know that there was a hack of Ukrainian railways last week, which is still causing problems for Ukrainians. I was looking at trains to Warsaw, and I can't even bring up Warsaw as a destination. So it's still a problem. But today, the problem is in Moscow. The pay system isn't working. The ticket system isn't working. And if you try to go to the website, you are redirected to Ukrainian railways. I love these guys. I love these guys so much. All right, guys, that's good morning for this last day of March. Tomorrow is April Fool's, so be careful. You don't know who's out to get you, except we do.